Luke chapter 14 is where we will be at today. This week we start our new series called Family Focus. Family Focus. And the truth is that many of us don't really have not Family Focus, I changed it. Family Matters. The truth is that not many of us have a good picture of what a family should be. Either maybe we were raised in a broken home. Maybe your parents weren't godly. Maybe your parents divorced, or there's so many things that can go wrong that can just distort the way that we view family. And the truth is that many of us listen to the culture about what the culture says a family should be or what it should look like. And the truth is many of us don't know what a proper family that's seeking after God and His kingdom should look like. And if you're like many of us, is when you start your family, you're just trying to figure it out. I remember when me and Rachel were about to get married, I cannot tell you the amount of people that came up to me and said, basically, my life was over, and this was about to be the most horrible undertaking of my life. I was like, man, I remember going to my neighbor, okay? My neighbor. I didn't even really know this guy. And he's like, have you guys started marriage counseling? I'm like, dude, we're engaged. Like, we've only been engaged for like 2 months. What do you mean marriage counseling? He's like, it's going to be rough. I was like, I don't even know you, man. And so that's like the perception of like marriage is going to be the worst thing ever. And it's going to be so difficult. And man, wait till you have kids and it's just going to be awful. And it's like, man, God created marriage to be enjoyed. God created families to be enjoyed. But when we don't do it God's way, it falls apart really quickly. And it breaks apart. In order to understand this whole lesson on the family and what we are going to be looking at is we need to know this, that the family was created by God. It's not a social institution that we made up for the betterment of society. No, it was created by God, and it was actually the first institution created by God. He made Adam, and from Adam's rib, He made Eve. And then He made them one. The family was the very first institution to be created, followed by the government, and then the church. And so is it any surprise that the devil hates marriage? You wonder why marriage can be so difficult is because the devil hates it. This world hates it. It can't stand good marriages. And I want to be very clear about something. The devil hates your marriage. The devil hates your marriage. He would love nothing more than to see your marriage crumble and fall apart. He would love nothing more than to see you and your spouse turn against one another, to see your kids turn against you. The devil would love nothing more than to see your family fall apart. Because not only does it affect you and your kids, but it will affect them for generations to come. Like I said, many of us have a view of marriage that is unhealthy because we learned it from our parents. And they maybe had an unhealthy marriage. What is a focused marriage? John 10:10 says this, the thief cometh not but for to kill, to steal, and to destroy, but I am come that you might have life and that you might have it more abundantly. The devil wants to distract us. He wants to knock us off guard. I think of this like a boxing illustration. I was going to box with Justin this week, but I thought that was a bad idea. I had to preach the rest, okay? But I think of it like a boxing illustration. The devil in that video brings up all kinds of things, all kinds of distractions in our lives that really it's for our family, but it pulls us away from our family. Think about work. We get so consumed in work and the bills and the finances, and there are things we have to do, but they're consuming. There are things like sports. How many people have kids in sports right now? You're running all over the place, aren't you? You're going everywhere, doing everything. Between that, school, and homework, and dads, you probably are like fighting your kids, have to like It's not that hard, right? Just write the numbers down. Trying to figure it out. I remember seeing my sisters cry as my dad's trying to teach them history. It didn't go well. Like, just give me the answer. That's all I'm asking for, right? I don't need a whole exposition on World War II, right? But all these distractions, these things, sports and everything's trying to take a piece of us. And I see it as like the devil just throwing a couple distraction punches. So by the time he sets you up and gets you off guard, as soon as all these distractions weigh you down and shift you off guard, he throws the haymaker and he knocks you flat on your butt. Marriage problems arise. Maybe he throws a huge financial burden on you. And you're already distracted and you're already frustrated and you're already weighed down by all these different things. And that's the straw that broke the camel's back. And so my goal in my heart and the Lord's heart with these next few weeks is this, is that we would cut through the distractions so we can have a kingdom-focused family. So we can have a kingdom-focused family. Because the truth is God cannot use you when you're so distracted by all the other things in this world. You're distracted by sports. You're distracted by what's going on in your kids, what's happening at school. You're distracted by all these, what's happening at work, what's happening at all these distractions, and it's like it's just pulling your family apart. And you cannot be used by God. Your family cannot be used by God if you are constantly and habitually distracted. And I want us to change our minds from this. My family doesn't go to church, but listen, my family is a part of the church. Church isn't something we just go to. Like this building, we're having church, but listen, we are the church. All right? And my goal is for us to teach ourselves, but not only to teach ourselves, but to teach our kids that the church is not a building. It's not something we simply go to. Like we can be the church outside of these walls. That we are still followers of Christ. We are still disciples of Christ on Monday and Tuesday and Wednesday. We are always pursuing and following Him. And that the things that we claim to believe would impact the way that we lead our families. I want you to think about this. When was the last time you prayed with your child before bed? When was the last time you sat down and read scriptures with them? When was the last time you brought them to serve the Lord? Are you distracted from God's purpose for your family? My goal is for us to be focused, to be used by God and for God's purpose. And so I was going to put an outline on there, but here's the outline for the next couple weeks, okay? Today we're going to talk about foundations. If you miss this message, nothing else will matter, okay? Nothing else will matter. All the other messages will just be not impactful because you didn't get the first thing right. This is the most important one. The next week we're going to talk about one flesh. It's going to be the marriage week. Man, I have a story I cannot wait to tell. It's a joke. I told Rachel, I was like, man, I want to tell it so bad today, but I can't. Next week. Then we're going to talk about week 3, fighting God's way. You know, we all fight in marriage, but there's a right way to fight and there's a wrong way to fight. And so week 3, we're going to talk about fighting, how to fight God's way. And then week 4, this might be a two-parter, might be week 4 and 5, we're going to talk about raising up the next generation. This will be a very applicable message to raising kids for the glory of God. All right? Raising kids for the glory of God. The truth is, this week is a firm foundation. I love what Psalms 11:3 says. It says this, if the foundation be destroyed, what can the righteous do? Foundations are important because they're the part of the building that everything else is built upon. Everything in your life relies upon a foundation. And right now in your life is built upon a foundation. Your family is built upon a foundation. The question is, what is that foundation? And let me challenge you on this. You need to be You need to be so serious right now about and real with yourself. We could say, oh yeah, my life is built on Jesus, but is it really? You need to examine your life, examine the fruit in your life and say, is my life really built on Jesus, or am I just saying that? And I want to say this. All of this will be applicable for everyone. If you're dating, if you're single, if you're married, if you're widowed, all of this will be applicable to everyone. Guess what? If you're, especially all you that are single in here, the best time to learn about marriage is before you're married. It's a horrible time to get in it in marriage and then try to figure it all out immediately. Me and Rachel were so blessed because we had so many good models of marriage to look at and to see. And so many people came along and taught us before we were married that we understood what we were getting into. So the best time to learn about it is now. But a foundation, your life is built upon something. I tried to write a joke about foundations, but I just couldn't find the right support to hold it up. So that's the only joke I got today, all right? I got a couple pity laughs on that one. Oh, yeah. But listen, too many of us have built our marriages. We've built our lives. We've built all these things on a compromised foundation. We've built our lives on things that will crumble under the weight of life. And so my question this morning is this. What is your foundation? What is your foundation? Go to Luke. Is everyone in Luke chapter 14, verse 15? Is that where we're all at? The foundation of most people's marriages, and remember, marriage is the base of the family. The moment that you say, I do, you are no longer immediate family with your in-laws. When I said I do to Rachel, and she said I do back, guess what? We are now a new family. I love and honor and respect my parents, but now I am the head of my house. I am leading my family. And so what most marriages I find nowadays are built on is romance. Makes you sick, don't it? The lovey-dovey movies. I'm just kidding. You need lovey-dovey stuff in the marriage. But I love what Solomon said in Proverbs. He said this, whosoever findeth a wife findeth a good thing and obtaineth favor with the Lord. Amen? Man, I don't know where I would be or who I would be without Rachel. She has grown me and encouraged me and led me closer to Jesus just through her life. I don't know where I would be. I couldn't do this without her. But I love what Psalms 21, verse 9 says. He says, man, marriage is good, but 2 chapters or 3 chapters later, he says this, it's better to dwell in the corner of a housetop than with a brawling woman in a wide house. Listen, I didn't write it. Proverbs wrote it. Solomon said it, all right? He had 400 wives. Surely he knew. He must have had a bad day that day. But listen, so many people build their lives on the fairy tale of love and of marriage. And we've really made relationships an idol in our culture, haven't we? Ever since we're little, man, we see the stories and the movies where it's the knight going in and rescuing the princess. And man, they just have a beautiful and happy life. And that's our idea when we're going into it, that this is the one and it's just going to be easy and sunshine and rainbows. And then you realize it's a lot more difficult and you don't always feel like you love your spouse all that much that day. Ladies, you realize that your husband farts a lot and he burps a lot. Guys, you realize that your wife is perfect, man, and she just never does anything wrong. Yeah, there they are. But listen, we idealize marriage and it becomes idolatrous. And so I want us to put marriage in its proper place so that we can build a right foundation. Look at this. Luke chapter 14, verse 15, it says this. And when one of them was sat at meat with him, Jesus, heard these things, he said unto him, blessed is he that shall eat bread in the kingdom of God. And he said unto him, A certain man made a great supper and bade many, and sent his servant at the supper time to say unto them that were bidden, Come, for all things are now ready. And when they were in one consent, began to make excuses. So Jesus is giving a parable, and a parable is this. It's an earthly story with a heavenly meaning. Meaning, he's trying to get a point across about salvation or about God. And so he says this, that there's a banquet going on, and the owner of this banquet invites all these people to come. And look at what happens. In verse 18, it says, And they were all with one consent, began to make excuses. The first said, I have bought a piece of ground, and I must needs go and see that it is, see it. I pray thee, have me excused. And so this first person's excuse is work, business. Oh, I got to go see this piece of ground, so I can't go to the feast. Sorry. Verse 19 says, Another said, I have bought 5 yoke of oxen, and I must now go and prove them. I pray thee, have me excused. This next one, he's extra spiritual. He's like, man, my business is booming. I got to focus on this, or who knows what will happen. The next one, verse 20, says this, And another said, I have married a wife, and therefore I cannot come. And the servant came and showed his Lord these things. And when the master of the house began being angry, said unto the servant, Go quickly into the streets and lanes of the city, and bring hither the poor and the maimed and the halted and the blind. And the servant said, Lord, it is done as thou hast commanded, and yet there is room. And the Lord said unto the servant, Go into the highway and the hedges, and compel them to come in, that my house may be filled. For I say unto you, that none of those men which are bidden shall taste of my supper. And so this is obviously it's in relation to salvation, that God is inviting people to come and to dine with Him. Jesus says, I stand at the door and knock, and any man that will hear my voice and open up the door, I will come in unto him and eat, and he shall eat with me. But the truth is that so many of us, so many people in the world, we prioritize different things. God is not at the foundation of our lives. We put business and work and life over Jesus. And for so many, we put marriage over Jesus. We put marriage over God. I've seen this, man. There's nothing more desperate than a college Bible student on campus, man. I've seen some crazy videos. It's like, man, we build our lives and we have to be in relationships. I have to find that perfect spouse. I have to be in a relationship. I can't be lonely. And the truth is it reveals an idol in our heart. And the devil can use relationships as that carrot on a stick to think that this relationship, this marriage, if I just get married, then it will fix my brokenness. Man, if I just start dating this person, it'll fix my brokenness. It'll fill this void in my heart. And the truth is that your marriage will never satisfy the God-sized hole in your life. It never will. It never can. Because marriage was not meant to be that way. Your spouse was never meant to fulfill the role that God was to fulfill in your life. But man, being in youth ministry for 10 years, the idolatry that goes on in relationships is insane. Because they think this is going to be the magic wand, and this new person they're dating is just going to fix all their problems. And they're so discontent in Jesus. And you know what happens when you are discontent? And you go and you place all that burden on a relationship? Here's what happens. You marry a person that's just as discontent as you are. That's just as, that their foundation is not Jesus either. And now you guys are together, and guess what? Now you have two discontent people that they are trying to place burdens on the other that they're never meant to take. Maybe you've been in a relationship where the spouse has placed unreasonable burdens on you that only God was meant to place. I love what one of my favorite artists said this. He said, Never, ladies, especially the ladies in here, never put God after another man, or another man will become your God, and God will become another man. When we idolize relationships, what happens is it actually identifies the brokenness, the longing in our own hearts for something more. It reveals our necessity for Jesus. You will crush your spouse under the burdens of expectations if you're trying to make them Jesus. They cannot be everything you need. We've had the unfortunate reality of seeing a lot of broken marriages in ministry. 11 years of ministry. And I've seen some horribly broken ones. And me and Rachel have counseled a lot of people in marriage, and a lot of young couples, and people just starting out, and people dating. And you know what the problem always is they're trying to force their spouse to be something they're not. They're trying to force this relationship to be something they're not. And they're so discontent in Jesus. And you know what single people hate to hear? Or people that are dating, you know what the one thing they hate to hear the most is? You need to break up with that person. And you need to be single for a while until you can be content in Jesus. And until you can be content in Jesus, you don't need a relationship. Because He has to be at the foundation of all of these things. Because if He is not, then everything else that will be built upon your life will crumble. Is Jesus the foundation of your life? Or have you created an idol out of marriage? Flip over to Matthew chapter 7. Matthew chapter 7. He says this, Matthew chapter 7, verse 24. Jesus concludes the Sermon on the Mount. So you say, okay, I need to stop idealizing my spouse. I need to stop trying to force them to be something they're not. If you're single or maybe you're dating, maybe you need to break up. Maybe you need to be single for a while until you can learn to be content, until you can learn that Jesus is all you need. Look at what he says. He concludes all of his sayings and he says this. Matthew chapter 7, verse 24 says this, therefore, whosoever heareth these sayings of mine and doeth them, will I liken unto him unto a wise man, which built his house upon a rock. And the rain descended, and the floods came, and the winds blew and beat upon the house, and it fell not. Why? For it was founded upon a what? It was founded upon a rock. And every one that heareth these sayings of mine and doeth them not shall be likened unto a foolish man, which shall build his house upon the sand, and the rains descended, and the floods came, and the winds blew and beat upon the house, and it fell, and great was the fall thereof. I have seen couples, marriages, families that have built their life on themselves. They've built their life on their thoughts of what marriage, of what family should be. And you know what happened to most of those houses? Great was the fall thereof. Maybe you came from a house like that, a broken house, a house where maybe an ugly divorce happened because that house was not built on God. Is your house, is your family built on the Word of God? Or is it built on what you think you should be doing? This is how I think I want to do marriage. This is what I want out of marriage. Or are you saying, no, my house is built on God? I love, if you've been here the last couple months, it's cool because a lot of these messages interweave together. It says that whosoever hears the word of Jesus and does them, that He will liken them unto a rock. And you know what Jesus is called? He's called the Rock of Ages. He was the rock in the wilderness who Moses smote with the rod, and water came out and everyone was able to drink. You have tried to build your life on what you think, what you want out of marriage, rather than what Jesus says and what He wants. Men, He calls you to lead your house and to die sacrificially to your wants and your desires so you can lead them in love. Women, He has called you to submit to your husband. The Bible says, as unto the Lord. And that's a hard thing for both of us, isn't it? For both sides. It's like, man, on the guy's side, it's like, I kind of want my pleasures. I want to do what I want to do. I don't want to sacrifice. I don't want to lead. And for the women, it's like, oh, you want me to submit to him like as unto the Lord? You out of your mind? But this is what Jesus says. These are his commands. It's not about what I want. It's not about what I think. It's about what his word says. Are you building your life upon his word? Are you building your life upon a solid foundation? This is what we're going to say, that I'm going to build my life as an individual that's centered on God. And then I'm going to build my life, my marriage that's centered on God. And then I'm going to take my family, and my family is going to be built on God. And we're going to do it his ways. Because guess what? If you got your bulletin, I didn't even plan this. If you got your bulletin, what does it say? That Jesus is the same yesterday, today, tomorrow, and forever. That he is always the same, and he will always be the same. You look at the world to understand how to live marriage, and you will be a mess. You look at the world on how to raise your kids, and it will be a mess. I mean, we can just see that. One of my biggest pet peeves is gurus. Oh, Rachel will be over there and see me fuming in bed. And she's like, what are you fuming about? I'm like, you would not believe what this guy just said. And she's like, I don't know. Why are you watching him? You know, something about it just makes me so mad because they speak with such authority, but everything they say is the wildest thing I've ever heard. Or how about raising kids? Man, at first you should put your kid on your stomach, and then you should put them on their back, and then they need a blanket, but then no, don't put a blanket in there. Put a teddy bear. Don't put a teddy bear in there. It's like, man, I don't know how am I supposed to should I put him in a hammock? I don't know where else to put the kid. All right, I don't know what else way I need to lay my kid in the crib. I didn't know when I had kids that I'd have to think about those things. And then it's like, what kind of bottle? It's like, there are so many things, and it's always changing, but the one thing that will never change is Jesus. When you build your family, when you build your life on him, it will never fall. Head over to Joshua, this is the last place, Joshua 24. The problem with most people is, and young people, all the young people, look at me so close right now. Look up here. Because you guys are about 20 steps ahead of everyone. You guys have the advantage of time. Listen to me so close right now. Most people mess their lives up when they're your age. Meaning this, you can make Jesus the foundation of your life now. And everything else will be easier. Everything else will go smoother. Everything else will be like, man, this is enjoyable. This is great. Most people get it wrong when they're single. They're discontent. They need a relationship. They've put up idols in their hearts. Jesus isn't the center of their life. And then they get married, and they marry someone who Jesus is not the center of their life. And then they try to idealize this person. And now they're fighting all the time in marriage. And they don't have marriage figured out. Because guess what? They didn't have singleness figured out. And now we have a kid. And now it's like, man, I got to figure out how to raise this kid. And all the parents in here, how much more complicated does life get with kids? It gets very difficult, especially the first year when you get zero sleep, and then you have twins, and then it's like your sleep somehow goes negative. And it's like, man, like you're trying not to fight. You're trying to love each other, and you're trying to love your kids and survive and work. Your life gets more complicated the more you go on. But if you get it right now, everything else gets easier. Me and Rachel have been so blessed because we got married, and guess what? It was not as bad as they all made it out to seem. We love marriage. It's been great. We've had our rough patches like everyone does, but we've enjoyed marriage. We've enjoyed kids. Why? Because Rachel didn't need me to follow Jesus. Jesus was the foundation of her life. I didn't need Rachel. He was the foundation of my life. And so when we came together, I wasn't like, you have to be this or no, we're going to follow Jesus together. We're going to build our lives on him. And then we had kids, and it's like, no, there's no deciding. We're going to raise our kids to love Jesus. And we're going to do it Jesus' way and not what I want. And man, it's been awesome. It's been exciting. It's been fun. Build your life on Him. We were watching Survivor. Any Survivor fans? No one? Jeez. Okay. Thank you. One, y'all need to get with the times. Yeah. There was this, we were watching Survivor this week. It's so funny. And one of the people were trying to teach the ladies how to swim. And I'm watching this. I'm like, the one thing I noticed was this. People that don't know how to swim, when they swim, look like they're trying to die. You ever notice that? They are like trying. I'm like, you watch someone that knows how to swim, they're just like floating, just, enjoying it. And the other people, man, they're like thrashing. They're like trying to figure it. I'm like, just chill. Like, you just gotta, it's not hard. You just hold your breath and you just kind of float. But they are like thrashing and trying so hard. Man, I feel like that's so many marriages I see. It's like, you are trying so hard. You are thrashing. And you just need to breathe and give it to Jesus and relax. But look at this. Joshua chapter 24, verse 14 is the last place. This is the challenge. Now, therefore, fear the Lord and serve Him in sincerity and in truth, and put away the gods which your fathers served on the other side of the flood and in Egypt, and serve ye the Lord. He gives two things. He says this. One, serve the Lord. I'm sure everyone in here, you're here on a Sunday. Your desire is to serve God. Amen? You want to serve God. But He puts a stipulation on it. And the stipulation is this. If you want to make God your foundation to your life, here's the foundation. He says this. Put away the gods from among you. Maybe you have idols in your life. Maybe you idealize work. Maybe an idol in your life is yourself. Maybe your idol in your life is your spouse or your kids. You need to put that idol to death. Metaphorically, okay? Don't kill your husband. Pastor told me. No. And you need to serve the Lord. And listen to what Joshua says in verse 15. He says this. And if it seem evil unto you to serve the Lord, choose you this day whom you will serve. Whether the gods of your fathers, which served on the other side of the flood, or the gods of the Amorites, whose land you dwell. And I love what Joshua says. But as for me and my house, we will serve the Lord. Amen. You need to decide today what you're going to do. You need to make your mind up. Are you going to make the foundation of your life an idol? Maybe the idol of marriage, of love. Maybe the idol of self, of pleasure. Or are you going to make the idol of your life and your family's God? Choose today who you will serve. And listen, you guys want me to be honest? Men, you want me to be honest, or you want me to sugarcoat it for you? Honest, okay. I might hit this again next week. Joshua was the one to stand up in his family and say, we are going to serve God. If your family, men in here, if your family is not serving God, it's your fault. It's your fault. It's no one else's fault you're out of church. It's your fault. The reason that your family is maybe drawing away from God, guess what? It's your fault. It's no one else's fault because you are the leader of the home. You are the head of your house. And God will hold you accountable for the way that you led your family. You are responsible. But you know what the great part about that is? Is you can change it. By leading in love, you can say, no, me and my family from today on, from here on out, we are going to serve God. We are going to follow Him. The foundation of our family, the foundation of, hey, guess what? It starts with me. The foundation of me will be God. And we're going to serve God. No more of this lukewarm faith. No more of this putting it on the back burner. No more of this, I'm going to seek my own pleasures. No, we are going to serve the Lord. And man, when this happens, when a whole family gets sold out for Jesus, like, no, we are all going to serve God together. An amazing thing happens is God begins to use that family in a mighty way for the glory of God. You cut through the distractions. Why? Because you know what's important. Sports are no longer important because I know that Jesus is the foundation of my life. If it comes between sports and Jesus, I'm choosing Jesus. If it comes between pleasure and Jesus, guess what? We're choosing Jesus. If it comes between what I want and what I think we need and what Jesus wants and what Jesus has for us, guess what? We're choosing Jesus because He is the foundation. He is the priority. So my question to you today is this: is He the priority of your life?